Top 10 Best Horror Movies of All Time. From monsters and slashers to haunted hotels, here are the best horror movies to watch right now. Number 10. 28 Days Later, 2002. Let's get the undead elephant out of the room first. Danny Boyle's horror is a zombie movie. Yes, they can run, but it's important to think of this horrible lot as part of the same family tree as Romero's finest. Maybe they wouldn't have Christmas dinner together, but they'd at least send cards and maybe some gift cards for the necrotic kids. The important thing is, regardless of their speed, these zombies are still the destroyers of worlds. When Jim, Cillian Murphy, wakes up in a hospital bed a lot like our friend Carl in The Walking Dead, he staggers out into an apocalyptic London that will never be the same again. Number 9. Scream, 1996. By the late 90s, horror was looking a little tired. The masked slasher trope was staggering along in a dire need of a cup of very strong espresso. What it got instead was Wes Craven's Scream, which, despite being parodied into Inception levels of postmodern irony since, reinvigorated the genre with its perfect blend of knowing comedy and scares. Neve Campbell, Rose McGowan, and Drew Barrymore as teenagers talking fluent horror movie while being picked off by a genre-obsessed serial killer? Oh, go on. Add and Courtney Cox at the giddy heights of Friends fame, as intrepid news reporter Gail Weathers in Scream is a modern horror classic. Number 8. Alien, 1979. Arguably one of the greatest science fiction movies ever made, also just happens to be one of the greatest horror movies too. It doesn't seem fair, does it? The original Alien from Ridley Scott sends the crew of the Nostromo to investigate a distress call from an abandoned alien spaceship as innocently as any gang of hormonal teenagers headed off to a remote cabin in the woods. And, just like those teenagers, not many of them are going to survive to tell the tale. Sigourney Weaver makes for the ultimate final girl here. Number 7. Jaws, 1975. Before Jurassic Park, before Eastern Time, and an eternity before the majority of the cast of Ready Player One were brought screaming into existence, there was Jaws, Steven Spielberg's 2D horror. And yes, this is a horror movie. Jaws, one of the original blockbusters on account of the number of people literally queuing around the block only to flee the cinema in terror, is horrifying. It doesn't matter that the shark looks a little ropey now when he gets up close and personal. The story of Amity Island's gory summer season as Chief Brody desperately tries to keep swimmers out of the water is the stuff of horror legend. And, let's face it, you're already humming the score. Number 6. Halloween, 1978. Who'd have thought an old Star Trek mask could be so terrifying? Director John Carpenter created a modern classic when he gave his villain a blank William Shatner mask to wear while he stalks babysitters around the fictional town of Haddonfield, Illinois. The movie created another icon, too, in Jamie Lee Curtis, who'd become both a scream queen in her own right and the template for all final girls to follow. Who cares if the first scene makes no sense? This is a movie that starts with a child murdering his sister while wearing a clown mask, and if that's not scary, you need your horror fan status revoked immediately. Number 5. The Exorcist, 1973. And here we are into the top 5 of this best horror movies list. It almost feels predictable now that William Friedkin's masterpiece, now in its 40s, is still looming near the top of so many horror features. But watch The Exorcist and you'll understand why. This is the tale of Regan, the daughter of a successful movie actress who one day occupies herself in the basement by playing with a Ouija board. If you have ever wondered why your parents don't want you playing with this innocuous-looking toy, a young Linda Blair probably has something to do with it. Using the Ouija board as gateway, an unwelcome guest takes root in the little girl, and the rest, as the titular exorcist arrives, is cinema history. Number 4. Hereditary, 2018. Home is where the heart is. It's also where the worst horror lives, hiding just beneath the surface of the perfect family life. A harrowed Toni Collette leads Ari Aster's very first feature film as the mother of a grieving family. The death of her own mother has sent shockwaves through their home, and, to keep this review spoiler-free, the future isn't looking exactly bright either. Number 3. The Thing, 1982. Perhaps you've been buried in snow and have missed John Carpenter's ultimate creature feature. Entirely understandable. Why don't you come closer to the fire and defrost? The title might sound hokey, but The Thing remains one of the most gloriously splattery and tense horrors of all time, as a group of Americans at an Antarctic research station including Kurt Russell's R.J. McCready take on an alien, thing that infects blood. It might start off taking out the canine companions. There's no need to check out dustedogdy.com this time around, but it really doesn't stop there. Number 2. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974. Some movie titles are vague, letting you gradually work out their meaning as the narrative slowly unfurls in front of your eyes like a delicate flower in tea. Then there's Tobe Hooper's grim, sweaty horror movie. There is nothing delicate here. Its titular weapon needs to be sharp, but the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a blunt instrument of horror. This is a tour de force of violence as 5 young people leave the safety of the world behind and journey into dusty Americana. What they find in one house when they innocently enter looking for gas is such death and depravity that the movie is still, decades on, a disturbing endurance test. Number 1. The Shining, 1980. Even if you haven't watched Stanley Kubrick's masterpiece, you'll know of The Shining. You'll know Jack Nicholson's, apparently ad-libbed, "Here's Johnny," and you might even be aware that if you're handed the keys to room 237 in a hotel, you might want to switch it for another suite. But what if you haven't? What if you have been snowed up in a mysterious hotel with only hedge animals for company? Well, The Shining follows a man and his family as he takes on the role of winter caretaker at a resort hotel known as the Overlook. Given that this is a Stephen King adaptation, albeit one that horror author hates so much that he made his own movie, the winter months don't go well. The Overlook Hotel, it turns out, doesn't really like people. And that's it for today. If you liked this video, please take some time to tap on like button and subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for more videos like this. And also check out our popular videos that are visible on your screen. Meet you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.